Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast episode will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, please do not continue to watch or listen until you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea Podcast. Today we are covering the last voyage of the Demeter. But before we go into the review, let's grab our cups and talk about tea. I don't know why I was like...
I don't know.
Anyways, I am drinking the Republic of Tea Turmeric Cinnamon Tea. It's got... Never would have guessed. Turmeric and cinnamon. That's it.
No.
Hey, the other one had green tea, so that one took me by surprise.
Yeah, but that one listed it on the front.
Yeah.
And I am drinking Republic of Tea's Daily Beauty Blueberry Lavender Tea, one of our favorites from them. It's got blueberry butterfly pea flower and blueberry, hibiscus, rosehip, bamboo, and schizandra berry.
And thank you to the Republic of Tea for allowing us to continue to do what we love. And for our tea sippers out there, brew yourself a cup of tea, sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy the review. So, the last voyage of the Demeter. So, this movie was inspired by the Captain's Log chapter from Dracula. And
From Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yes, the original Dracula.
Yes.
But it's like, you know how in Dracula there's like a part where like he's on the boat and then that's how he like travels to like the...
Going to London.
Yes. So it's a movie about that. Mm-hmm. I will give this a 7.25. Like, I did really enjoy the movie, and honestly, like these types of like spin-off movies I tend to find are kind of like boring and not really interesting. This one, they actually had some really good characters and some really good actors. Like Mr. Clemens, really good. I like Toby the kid. Even the captain was pretty interesting. And each of the characters were like dynamic, and you could like tell them apart.
Yes.
They're pretty distinct. So 7.25 for what I thought it was going to be is pretty good. So, but no, I really, like I said, I did like Mr. Clemens. I liked how clever he was and how it was kind of like a science versus a supernatural in a lot of ways. And
he was a scholar.
Yes. And I did like the fact that the conversation that him and the captain have where he was like, I just want the world to make sense. Mm-hmm. Or figure out why it doesn't make sense or whatever. And the captain's like, well, nothing about the world makes sense. You just have to accept it and
experience it.
Yeah. So I like those kind of conversations that were brought up. I will say I was honestly... I don't know how to feel on how they treated Dracula the vampire himself. Because on the one hand, I can understand why they would have him be like a full-out creature, because it's like a little bit more threatening. He has all of his abilities, all of that. But like at the end, when they're like, oh, he goes, he mingles with humanity or blends in with humanity, and you see him, like, with his clothes, I was like, hell no, he does not look anything like a human.
Okay, let's be fair. Nosferatu didn't look anything remotely human either.
I guess, yeah.
You guess?
Well, yes. But,
and they were basing it largely on that.
I was trying to remember the original Dracula, what he looked like.
You want me to pull it up?
No, that's okay. But the point is, like,
I'll pull it up.
Maybe that's more okay. So I'll just pocket that and put that in the realism. But anyways, one thing that came up that is not in the original lore, which I thought was interesting, because if you're basing it on the lore, the original like novel, why wouldn't you follow the novel's lore or logic? But in our modern day, whenever you get bitten by a vampire, you become a vampire. But in Dracula, you had to like share blood in order to become a vampire. It wasn't just about
vice versa. Like modern day, you have to share the blood. Because a lot of original lore, you were just bitten.
In Dracula, though, like the lawyer guy. Like, he got bitten by Dracula, but he didn't become a vampire.
Yeah, and that was a problem, because the chick that was fed on was just bitten. She wasn't given any blood, and she turned.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that this movie directly conflicts with the lore that Dracula established.
Yeah, so did the original. They only turned when it was convenient. In Dracula, in Nosferatu.
See, but at least in Dracula and Nosferatu, I always remember them swapping or sharing blood in order to turn. Okay, okay. So, I don't know how much of that I'm going to keep in or cut, but consensus is, me and Jess did some Googling. And the Dracula lore specifically is when he bites you, you do turn into a vampire. However, you do have to die. But per, like, you know, how it typically works is like when you're bitten, you still get, like, sick. And so you're eventually going to die. So it's not like you're awake and you're fine and you turn into a vampire. You do, like, progressively get more sick until you die. And then you complete the change or whatever. So okay, so they did technically follow the lore on that aspect in a way, but I do feel like the rate of change definitely varied, and maybe it's just like the rate of death, and that's what like changed. Because like the girl, I know she said that like the blood transfusion just like prolonged it, and she was going to inevitably turn into a vampire. But I feel like since she had been bitten the most out of all of them, before they even found her, she definitely would have been turned by them. So, yeah. So there are just like some slight like inconsistencies there, but it's like the reason why I enjoyed this movie is like it does really pull you back into the original vampire lore. And not so much the modern vampires that we're like used to today. I also really enjoy the characters, like the captain, Mr. Clemens, Toby. The girl's kind of like, I don't know, she's a little bit flat. So there wasn't like a whole lot. It's like I didn't not like her, but it's like I didn't super enjoy her.
Add much either.
Yeah. And just the crew themselves were interesting. I will say I was never like scared, or there wasn't really
a whole lot of creep factor.
Yeah, there wasn't really a lot of creep factor. It really is like a classical like horror movie where you're not like but it definitely has a horror elements. You know or can feel that the characters are in danger. I liked how they did the movie. Bottom line, it's like I enjoyed it for sure.
So, to be honest, this was probably my favorite of the 8 that we watched for this recording session. I give it I don't think you even rated it.
A 7.25.
Okay. I give it a 7.75.
Holy shit.
Honestly. This movie sucked me in. Like, it felt like an old school creature feature.
Yeah, for sure.
Which we don't get a whole lot of these days without being like overly gory or overly action and all. This one was truly a horror creature feature mystery type movie.
Yeah.
They didn't focus on action. They focused on what in the hell is going on this ship.
Well, and then, like, you didn't know what was going to happen next, like, who was going to be attacked next. And that was the fun of the movie, is you didn't know who was going to be the next target.
It seemed like no one was safe. It had a lot of the original lore from the Dracula book and adaptations, like the original ones. So that was very interesting. I know that you had a little bit of an issue with his form, but a lot of the lore is he can basically turn into a bat. So, and he looked somewhat like a giant bat.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know.
So, I mean...
It's like, he didn't technically turn into a bat, but he definitely had the bat features.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But he looked intimidating. Like, if I saw him...
Oh, hell yeah. That would be a problem.
Myself.
That's problem. That's problem.
Yeah.
Houston, we have a problem.
But I did like how he, like, used his wings to, like, entrap people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was definitely a benefit of him being, like, a human size and having the wings is, like, it just, like, helped.
Yes.
With, capturing
with the
victim.
intimidation factor and all. Yeah. And also, he was intimidating enough before, and then you realize, crap, it can fly. It's like trying to go and kill a bug, and then realizing, oh shit.
Yeah, like the guy that was just like,
shit,
okay, I'm out of here, and he's in the lifeboat. He's like, I'm safe now. It's like, nope.
No, you're not.
Though I love how, like, you know, he still had all the people on the ship, and he's still like, no, I'm directly going to this person.
Yes. No survivors. Well, you know, fear flavors the meat and the blood.
Well, I'm
little
also
seasoning.
Well, I'm also sure that he wants to try and start fresh. Like in Romania, like everyone knew about him.
That's why I said no survivors.
Yeah, so he's trying to keep the advantage.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So it was very entertaining. I feel like the production value was really, really great and really well done. Even the CG parts didn't feel super unreal like a lot of movies these days. So they did a really great job on that. The practical effects were really good. The blood, when they did show it, I mean, they showed a lot of blood. But I don't know, it felt like the right consistency and color. And there wasn't a whole lot of, like, vibrant color. It was very muted through most of the movie. Mm-hmm. So when you see, like, the reflections of his eyes...
Yeah, that was creepy.
It was all the more striking. And they played that to their advantage very well.
Yeah.
So I think they did a really good job with this one. It might not be the first one that I go to for a creature feature, but it's definitely up there. Oh. And I'm glad I watched it.
It's like, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, man, maybe a 7.25.
It's all subjective.
Well, no, I know I'm thinking, but it's like I did really, like, out of the ones that we reviewed, like, Lisa Frankenstein was number one, but this was, like close, like, second, third. Oh, I gotta change it to a 7.25 to match that. But
well, that's what you had.
No, 7.25. 7.5 is what I wanted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
So you're moving it up to a 7.5.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like, for me, like a go-to, like, I can watch this movie over and over again is like 8 and above.
Yeah, that's same for me.
And 7.5 is kind of like, I gotta be in the mood, but I definitely really enjoy the movie. Mm-hmm. So...
Yeah, that's why I gave it that 7.75. Like, it's almost there, but creature features aren't usually like the first thing that I go for in the horror genre.
Yeah.
They're fun and I enjoy them. And this one especially was really well done.
Yeah.
But it's still not going to be like one of the first things that I'm like, we need to watch this.
Yeah. Because like, I think for context, like comparing this to 30 Days of Night, I think this movie is a lot stronger because it has like a mystery tone about it. And it's not so much like action. It's more like, they're helpless. And so it's like, it's tense and you don't know when he's going to strike next. You don't know where he's at.
Isolated, but in a different way.
Yes. Yeah. So I really enjoy it. Like you said, it does kind of call back to like the original creature features.
Yes. And it can be a little gory at points, but it doesn't focus heavily on the gore. I feel like 30 Days of Night was predominantly a gore fest.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. I would be really curious to find out more information about the director and producer if they're like big fans of the original like creature features or because it definitely calls back to that pretty well. But for realism, oh man, realism's tough.
It is. This one is kind of tough.
Because it's like the superstition about having a woman on board.
Which is accurate, especially for the time.
Yes. Also, I feel like the fact that Mr. Clemens was black, like, I mean, definitely having at least like one like racist person or bigoted person or biased person on board is accurate. But I also do believe the fact that he would have been treated at least slightly more as an equal because when you're on a boat, when you're on a ship, you're spending a lot of time with these people. And so it's like collectively you all have to put in like the same amount of work and stuff like that. And so I could see where there could be a sense of camaraderie. Kind of like, I don't know, I'm thinking kind of like in World War II when white soldiers and black soldiers like were working together for the same goal and stuff. They actually like, that actually kind of really helped break down the segregation laws. And so it's like, so that's why it's like, I can see that as a potential. But I mean, I'm sure that wasn't the case the majority of the time.
Yeah. And I could see why they wouldn't see him that way because they knew that this was going to be just a one-way, like a single trip voyage.
That's true.
So they didn't necessarily want to get closer to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there was no point.
Yeah, that's true. I did appreciate also Mr. Clemens stating like his story and his struggle about being the first black doctor coming out of Cambridge. Well, I guess the first black doctor in general.
One of.
But he came from Cambridge.
Yeah.
Which is like huge. And so it's like I really enjoyed like that story and him talking about his struggle. That was like felt very like realistic and powerful. You
really felt for the guy.
Oh yeah. Because he was like very intelligent. Oh yeah. Like very like kind and like he obviously really enjoyed what he did and he wanted a chance to
help people.
Yeah. And I did enjoy the captain's story on how like he is going to be his last voyage. He's going to retire because he didn't want his grandson to be stuck in the life like he was. Like he wanted his grandson to have like a more like peaceful life. So it's like, and then having him talking to, I don't know if it's a first officer or what.
First mate, yeah.
First mate. Him talking to his first mate about him becoming captain and how there's like no other like better person. It's like I really enjoyed the little bits and pieces of story that you hear from each of the people. Like it definitely like makes it feel more realistic and all the sadder when they die. Oh man, though, this is a little bit of a tangent, but I really hope they make a sequel because Mr. Clemens at the end when he's
was
like, I'm coming
awesome.
after
Yes.
him. I was like, yes. It's like he can be the new like Van Helsing or something. It's just like, oh, that'd be so cool. I would watch that.
I would too, honestly.
Yeah, like
especially if it was the same actor. He did a really great job.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, Mr. Clemens just hits right. It's just and then you feel for him with like the girl dying and stuff like that. It's just like
It made a friend.
So he had, and then him, and then all of the like Toby and then the captain, like all of them dying because of this, because of Dracula. It's like he has the motivation where it's like he would persistently go. It's like, oh, please make a sequel. Please make a sequel. But anyways, please don't ruin the sequel.
Yeah.
If you do.
We need the same people to do the sequel.
Yes.
Because if they keep it on the same level as this movie, then I think it could be well done.
And doing it among like the streets of London and stuff. Oh, that would. Oh, yes. But as far as like the actual like them getting sick and stuff like that, and all of like the reactions and all of that feel realistic. The rules around Dracula are realistic for like that world, and they seem like it's so hard to rate this one.
The main beef that I have, if I could just cut in a little bit, because the rest of it seemed rather realistic, was the rate that people changed. Like, I get that the kid might change pretty quickly because he's younger. His system might not be able to fight against the effects of it as quickly. I get that. The guy that changed, and I feel bad for not remembering his name. I know it started with an O.
Olgren.
Yes, Olgren. I feel like he changed really quickly as well, even with the blood transfusion. Yeah. And they didn't show him dying. They showed him spasming a bit.
That's true.
But they didn't show him dying. They showed that the kid had died.
Yes.
But they didn't seem to really adhere to their own rules fully unless it was convenient to the movie.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, man. And then
the chick who had been fed on multiple times was perfectly fine even by the time they found her. And the fact that he gave her multiple transfusions from himself in a row. Like, it would have had to have been from different people.
Which fucking rude for the captain to be like, oh, not only... Like, I understand they have to be careful with their rations, but he was having Mr. Clemens split his rations with the girl when he had been giving his blood to her. It's like, if anything, if all of them were like, okay, we're going to give a fourth of our ration to, like, make hers or whatever.
And not even a fourth with the number of people they had there.
Yeah, like, it was, like, I understand keeping rations the same, but they didn't have to keep it all on him. They could have had just But I understand
it was mainly to keep the peace.
Yeah,
because the rest of the crew wanted to get rid of her. So as a bit of a compromise to the rest of his crew, then he's like, "Okay, she's your responsibility, which means you feed her from your rations."
Yeah, but still, I was just like, damn.
And in return, I'll make sure that they don't touch her.
Yeah. Oh man, and then whenever the captain was like, I think he's moving, I think he's breathing, and then they like open, that was so sad. But then he became a vampire. But man, and then the way he went down, he like immediately burned up and then felt just, oh my god.
So sad.
Yeah.
I do want to take a couple of points off for the dog too. That was dirty.
Yeah.
You did that dog dirty.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
And all the animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But especially the dog.
But yeah, like the people burning up in the sun, like it was It was on
was
the
pretty
same
brutal.
level as, oh man, I forgot that TV show on Netflix about like the church where the priest is
Midnight
a
Mass?
vampire. Yes, Midnight Mass. It's like almost as
Spoiler
bad
alert for
as,
that.
yeah, spoilers.
Mhm.
It's like when the guy's on the boat or whatever, and he's like screaming in pain and he's burning up. I'm like,
I haven't seen it.
oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Oops. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
It's been out. You should have watched it by
I
now.
don't have Netflix anymore.
Oops. But yeah.
But it was really well done.
Yeah. So I think I will give this a 3.
Yeah, I agree. A 3 is accurate. There are some points that I kind of want to make it go higher and some that I want to make it go lower, but
It's kind of a mixed bag.
it is.
But overall, really good.
Another issue that I took with it was that the chef dude, like their cook, left in a lifeboat to try to save his own skin. Dracula killed him and sent the boat back. Which I can kind of see him doing as an asshole move. Just to be like, yeah, there is no escape for you. But they saw that and then still thought that their best plan of action was to, and to their credit, they didn't know that Dracula could fly at the time. Their best plan of action was to sink the boat with the creature on it and escape in a lifeboat.
Yeah, so sink the ship, escape in a lifeboat.
Yes. Then they discovered that he could fly.
And they're like, oh, fuck.
And then their plan of action was still to sink the boat and escape via lifeboat. Like, they're like, no, this is still the plan. There's no way this could fail. There's no way he could get us on the lifeboat.
They're a smaller target.
He can fly! Also, for a creature that feeds on blood and is smart enough to try to ration out the people as a blood source for him, as a food source for him, he's hella wasteful. I've always thought this about Dracula, honestly. Like, every movie I see, he's super freaking wasteful with the blood. There's so much wasted. So much wasted.
Gotta suck him dry.
Yes. And also, if he knows that his bite can turn people, wouldn't that create more mouths to feed? And wouldn't he just want to kill them right off the bat to prevent competition for the food source? I'm just saying.
That's true.
But still, I feel like a 3 is fairly accurate.
Like, I kind of felt like what would have happened is, because they kind of like killed them for him, but I would imagine what would happen is if they did turn and they started to become competition, then he would just kill them at that time.
Yeah, but that's an extra step.
Yeah.
Why not just be more efficient about it?
Yeah.
Unless it's specifically to cause fear and panic.
Yeah.
But you're already kind of doing that just by being there. So, like, is there really a point?
Yep.
But all in all, very entertaining movie.
Yeah.
And honestly, for a vampire movie, it's not bad, realism-wise.
Yeah, really not bad. Yeah. I really enjoyed the characters, enjoyed the story. Just, yeah, definitely recommend. I feel like this is a hidden gem.
Absolutely.
So, but thank you for joining us today and let us know what you thought of the movie. If you'd like to recommend a movie, game, or tea, you can leave us a comment or join our Discord. And if you'd like to keep up to date with our content, you can find our link tree listed below.
And if you'd like to support us monetarily, we have a Teespring and a PayPal, or we have our affiliate link with Republic of Tea available. It does not affect the price of the tea, it just allows us to continue to do what we love. And you can find all of the sites mentioned linked below. But until the next time, guys, stay safe and stay spoopy.
Bye.
Bye.